when we're looking at software, we think we can do that ourselves. Just hire the guy that knows how to do it. I mean, you'll be so glad that you did.
Yeah.
You're leaving so much money on the table. You think you're saving money, but you're not. Saving time is worth, in our case, saving the time is worth more than the money. So, there's been a huge return on investment for us.
All right, we're joined with Barry now. Barry, thanks so much for being on the Builders Board podcast. Super excited for our conversation today about growth and the incredible success that you've had and will have next year. Super excited for that. All right, so first off, let's give our listeners a little background into you and to 7 Day Kitchens.
Yeah, so we are a kitchen remodel company only. We only do kitchens. We're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And our premise to our business is that we can remodel a kitchen from floor to ceiling in 7 days or less.
That is incredible. I know we probably have piqued the listeners' ears on that. And obviously, maybe this is partly why you're seeing such huge growth, is this incredible kind of guarantee to make sure you get these kitchens done so quickly. Now, obviously, maybe just to give some sort of clarity around this, you're not saying you're starting with a brand new lead and finishing in 7 days. There's a little bit more work that happens behind the scenes, right?
That's right. We're a full design build firm. So we have a design process that all of our customers go through. But once we get to their week, it's their week, and their kitchen is done from Monday to Sunday.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
Yep.
As a homeowner myself and have been in the remodeling business for a long time, that is incredible. And I know that, again, you're next year and, you're just going to continue on the success path that you're on just because this is such a great concept and path. Yeah. So,
thank
awesome.
you.
So tell me about the growth that you've seen and what you're hoping to see here in the future.
We started this business in 2023. We hit all of our stretch goals. I'm a type of guy that wants to put projections out there, and sometimes I get a little crazy. Well, we hit all the crazy ones, and then 2024 came along, and we exceeded those yet again. And so the growth has been phenomenal, but it's also while it's very exciting, it's very frustrating.
Sure.
And it can be very overwhelming because you don't know what's coming. No one put up a sign and say, "Hey, by the way, next month you're going to do 12 kitchens." It's just not there for you. So it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride for sure, but it's been tough to handle.
You're not new to the construction business. You've been in the industry for a long time. So maybe give me a little more insight into the background and how you ended up here.
So the way I got into construction was through outdoor construction. So we would do home additions. We would do decks, porches, patios, sunrooms, screen porches, gazebos, all that kind of stuff. We even dabbled in pools for a little while. We thought that was going to be the next big thing. And what for us and my team, what we realized, as everyone does that was in the construction trade that works outside, is that the weather dictates your schedule. And so we were having problems with a lot of important parts of our business, like financials, making sure that cash flow is flowing in, doing all that. While we were doing that, in the meantime, many of our customers were asking us to come in and say, "Hey, we love what you do with our porch. Do you do kitchen remodels? Do you do bathroom remodels? Do you do basements?" And we were like, I was never one to want to be a part of that because I'd heard all the horror stories. And so we got that question enough that we decided to do something about it. And we had to come up with a way to do it that's going to be pleasant for everybody involved.
Yeah. The struggle is real.
The struggle is real, yes.
So let's talk about that struggle. You mentioned the growth pains, obviously, of doing this.
Yes.
So you probably have learned a ton in the last year. What's like one thing that stands out when you think specifically about a growing pain that you've had, where you're like, man, I wasn't prepared for this one thing?
Problem with growing pains, and when you're kind of on, I don't know if I call it hyper growth, but whenever you're growing beyond your means, everything suffers. Your communication suffers. Your attention with your clients. So everything takes a hit. So it's not just any one issue. it's like all the issues. If you don't have any kind of systems or processes in place before you hit that growth period, you're going to be so far behind the curve, and it's it's frustrating. It's really is hard to deal with because everybody on my team was out of their minds, crazy, and frustrated with kind of how we were trying to do things.
Mm.
And just like I said, no one tells you that the growth is coming.
Right.
You know, you hope that it's going to be there, right? Everybody wants a bigger company, but are you? You may want that, but are you really prepared for it?
Right.
And that's probably the biggest lesson we learned. Like we weren't prepared to handle growth. We wanted it, we dreamed of it, but we just couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we were lucky to get through it. Pretty much unscathed. But when your team gets frustrated, it's they're the ones that make everything work out, and you want them to be happy with what they're doing.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about how maybe you found ways to bring that happiness back to the process, back to the growth, and so that way you can manage that. What does that look like for you in the process? What have you learned in the painful times? Obviously, we learn best probably through pain. So, but maybe we can alleviate a listener's pain here by sharing some insight on that.
Well, I think for us, what we learned is that we needed processes and systems. We needed a way to have basically a step-by-step guide to getting our projects through a particular timeline and making sure we were ready to execute on that homeowner's project during their week. The problem that we had is even though we identified that, we were more worried about coming up with the perfect system.
Mm.
And the truth of it is you just need to get started. You just start somewhere, and then over time will perfect the process. You're not going to figure it out 120% on day one. You just have to come up with some big block steps, employ programs like Loop, JobTread, things like that to help you manage all of that information. Because as business owners, we try to hold all that information in our heads. And when we do that, that means that everybody else around us is depending on us for information. But if you put that in a system and it's something they can pull up on their own, then they have the autonomy to answer their own question and make the right decision without involving you. It's been great. It's been really great.
That's great. Okay, so you mentioned that you were using some technology in there. You mentioned Loop CRM and you mentioned JobTread as well. So tell me, like, at what point did you realize, like, hey, the current stuff that we have is not working and we need something different?
That was pretty obvious during our first year of business. I'm using spreadsheets. No one else on my team was a spreadsheet person. I'm a spreadsheet guy. And that just wasn't getting it done. So, we tried to employ like Google Calendar to do project management. We were using spreadsheets to track project financials, estimates, budgets, agreements. And it was just a disaster. Nobody knew how to get the information that they needed. My design team was left in the cold. My production team was left in the cold, and they depended on me to be able to give them that information. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep up with it all. So when we started to look at new systems, we knew we needed a CRM system to handle the front end of the process. We knew we needed a design and production oriented system to handle the job execution. And so that's really when we found Loop and we found JobTread that worked together, that just made all the sense in the world to us.
Yeah, good. So tell me about your journey with those software programs. So you said, okay, we have identified the problem. We know the solution now. Now what's the next step? And you're laughing already, which means
I mean, it's yeah. So I signed up for Go High Level, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 months ago, maybe even longer than that we've had this program that we just could not get off the ground. We did the same thing with several other of the production-oriented software programs like Builder-Trend, JobTread, BuildBook. I mean, we've looked at them all. We knew we needed something, but every time we stepped in to get it off the ground, it was so overwhelming. And I think that's kind of how we ended up working with you, Tom. Having someone to hold our hand and guide us through that process has made it so much easier. And it's well worth the investment. So it's just like anything else in business. As a contractor, we may hire other people that have specialties, an electrician, a plumber, a drywall guy, cabinet installer, whatever, right? Countertop fabricator. But for whatever reason, when we're looking at software, we think we can do that ourselves. Just hire the guy that knows how to do it. I mean, just you'll be so glad that you did.
Yeah.
You're leaving so much money on the table. You think you're saving money, but you're not. Saving time is worth, in our case, saving the time is worth more than the money. So, there's been a huge return on investment for us in this process.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And obviously, on a personal note, I've obviously greatly enjoyed working with you and the rest of the team there that you've got. It's been exciting to work with you. I know the energy is there where we're just really pumped about what the future holds now that you've got these things in place. So let's look towards the future here. So what do you want the future to look like? What do you hope it, and what do you believe that these systems and processes will bring to your business?
Well, I think the most important part is that now we know we can confidently grow this business. I know I have a system in place that can handle all the information that we have to deal with. I have a system in place that can take all that so that everybody across the whole organization can see it. They can react to it. They can be proactive with it. And this will allow us to grow. Where we were at the beginning of this year, we were kind of tapped out. We wanted to grow, but we couldn't. But now we have the systems in place to allow us to grow. So having these systems, one in particular is the estimating system through JobTread. Getting that set up has been a critical part to the sales process, right? I know a lot of people think they're just worried about the production and how to bring all these jobs into a system that they can manage, but there's also the sales process. So having these systems actually helped our sales process too. So it will help us grow, and we can manage the growth through the JobTread system. It's been great.
And you now have the tools to make sure that all of those other pain points you're facing are not bubbling up to the surface, and
100%. Yeah. And we know they're not perfect.
Sure.
We know they're not. None of the systems are going to be perfect, but you can't let perfection get in the way of good enough. You got to make the first step. It's just like, everybody's going to make some commitment for, New Year's that they're going to work out, they're going to eat right, but just making the first step is the hardest part. So just kind of getting past that and just kind of getting started on a lockstep program like what you offer, Tom, has really been crucial to helping us get through this process. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in the same place we were.
Yeah.
And that was not a happy place for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point to kind of bring back to say that, like, when you're going through that growth period, there's a reason we say growing pains. But to your absolutely perfect point there, it's not just affecting you as the business owner, it's affecting the team, it's affecting our customers. And without a proper way to handle those growing pains, everyone's just going to continue to feel that until you realize, like, it's time to do something about it. So you're 100% correct. We're looking into next year, and don't know when you're listening to this, but whenever you're listening to it, you should probably take a moment and say, is there some process we could be doing better with? Or is there some system we should be using to help us with these growing pains?
It's critical that even if you're not in hyper growth mode, even if you just want to have a better lifestyle or just be more confident about what's going on in your business, having systems will do that too. But you're not going to grow successfully, because growing pains can ruin your business. You're not going to grow successfully without having these systems in place. We were lucky that we got through this recent period and not damaged our reputation. but we were running right on the razor's edge of doing that on just about every single job.
Yeah.
And now we have the confidence to go, okay, we're ahead of the game. Now we're more proactive and not reactive. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and wonder if something's been done or not, or did someone remember to do something, or did I not remember to do something? All I have to do is just look at my system and go, yep, it's done. I don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking I got to call Michael first thing in the morning to make sure that thing got done.
Yeah.
It's, if I wake up, I can literally look into the computer and it will tell me, and I go right back to sleep. So it's good.
Yeah. That quality of life, honestly, is priceless, in my opinion. And I'm sure other business owners listening to that would probably agree to that. There's one gift that we do not get back, which is the gift of time that we're given. And
that's right.
If we can be using technology and systems and processes to help better our quality of life so we sleep better, but then also buy back our time using these tools that we have access to. I mean, this is, again, we kind of talked off camera before this about like the value add that we're trying to find in the business, the ROI that we're trying to get by spending some money. And usually, like to your point earlier, you're like, I don't know if I want to spend the money. You're trading off that. And like, what are you valuing your time as? And if you really go and calculate it, you might want to sit down before you calculate it. Because if you're standing, you might collapse when you realize
you're gonna be laying down.
How little you're valuing your time. And again, it's our most precious gift. So I know you probably have experienced this. Obviously, it does take a little bit of time to get these things going, right? But you have two choices. You can either continue down that path of pain, or you can take this other path, which gets you to where you want to go.
Yeah, and you decide what you do with that time. It's no longer dictated to you that you have to be 110% in the business for every second of every day. You get that time back. You want to spend that on mental health, physical well-being, spending time with your family, whatever it is, growing the business. You're creating that time to be able to check off those boxes of having a really nice quality of life. I mean, it's important. My stress level alone has come way down because now I don't worry about stuff like I used to.
Sure. Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I don't have to constantly check my phone anymore because I know that my people have access to all the information. It's in the system, and my phone doesn't ring nearly as much as it used to.
It's good. Yeah. And, you start using tools like AI, and now AI's answering the phone for you. And, it's like, right. I don't even need to answer the phone anymore. Just talk to the robot. It's fine, Yeah. So you mentioned, as part of this whole process of learning to streamline the operations and system processes, you've obviously learned a lot. Can you give us one nugget as we kind of like turn the corner here to wrap up? What's one thing you would say to somebody who right now is either wanting that explosive growth or going through the explosive growth?
That's a tough one. If you have big ambitions, you're not going to get anywhere without systems and processes, period. And unfortunately, most folks like myself, they don't know what you don't know until you get there and you experience it. But I sure wish I would have been better prepared for what just happened to us this past year, because we could have done more. If we'd have had the systems in place, we could have done more. We would have had the estimating process nailed down through JobTread and the way we use it. We could have had more business. And so, if you're ambitious and you want to grow your business and you want to take advantage of the demand that's in front of you, you absolutely cannot do it without systems and processes. It is a no-brainer. And the problem is you don't really know it until you get smashed with overwhelming demand for your product, and you don't know, and you can't pull it all together.
Yeah.
So it's I know for sure we lost jobs because we couldn't get our quote unquote stuff together.
Sure.
On getting people the information that they needed.
Yeah.
And when you have a process, you're ahead of the game. We were totally behind the curve the whole year. And when you have a system like JobTread and Loop CRM, we are now in control of how we respond. We don't have to go fight a fire.
Yeah.
It's great.
That is
Yeah,
good.
really
That's
good.
really good. Yeah. Good points there. It's one of the things I want to tag on to that I frequently have conversations with folks when they're talking about marketing. It's kind of the same thing where they're like, business is fine. I don't need to market. And the problem is that's not the time. That's the time you should be continuing to market, because it can turn off. You can turn it a dime here where all of a sudden now the leads drop off. And if you're not consistently doing something, and this goes back to systems and processes, right? That's the whole idea of systems and processes, to consistently do something well. If we're not doing that on a regular basis, then we're going to end up in that painful situation.
Yep. We were there. It stunk.
Yeah. All right. Well,
but we got to figure it out. Yeah.
That's good. Let's pivot here really quick and go into our lightning round of questions that we have for you. So I've got some quick hitting questions, and so we'll run through these real quick. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever received as a business owner?
Don't let perfection get in the way of good enough. Period.
It's a good one. What's a tool or app that you can't live without in your business?
That's tough. I have two now. Loop CRM and JobTread.
There you go.
I mean, honestly, that's where we live now. Yeah. It's awesome. It's really good.
Good. What's one book or other resource that you'd recommend to someone focusing on growth?
That one's tough. I don't know that I have any one particular resource or book other than to just maybe provide my own piece of advice here. And that is, and I've said it a couple of times here now, but that is, if you are even slightly ambitious about growing a business, you need to focus on systems and processes before you start doing that big marketing campaign and trying to drive business. It's critical to your success, because you could just as easily go out of business due to your growth.
Sure. Yeah. Good point. Barry, tell us all, what's your go-to way to unwind after a busy day?
For me, I need to unplug. I need to, from everything and everybody. I just need some solitude. Maybe I'll go for a walk. I'll walk the dog. Maybe I'll go work out. Something that's just me doing something that I like.
It's good.
And not having to talk to anybody. Just that solitude, just to let things settle down, reflect back on my day. That's really powerful for me.
It's good. So last question here. If you weren't running 7-Day Kitchens right now, what else would you be doing?
I came out of college with a finance and banking degree. So I imagine I would probably be working for a bank, which is like the worst thing ever, because I did work for a bank before I got into construction. And anyone who enjoys being out and about, they're living a life in a cube is not a life worth living.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
It's a good word. Awesome. Well, Barry, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Want to come back to our key takeaway for listeners, which is, if you are going to have a growth-filled year next year, you've got to have those systems and processes in place. If you need help with that, obviously don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm sure Barry would be so willing to help. Hop on a quick call if you needed to talk to somebody who's gone through it like him. We'll put all the links to how to reach Barry in our show notes, so don't forget to check those out online. And also check out 7-Day Kitchens. It's literally just the number 7 and then daykitchens.com. And you can find their socials there on their page. Give them a follow, help Barry out as well. That's awesome when we do that as a community to help each other out. And Barry, super excited to come alongside you. Maybe we'll have to do this podcast again in a year from now and just say,
I would love to do that.
Let's just
absolutely
see where it all goes, right?
Yes.
So
yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry, for tuning in.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.